Hello.
Hi, what's up?
What's up? How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Okay, what do you want?
What do I want? Um, okay, well, this has evolved a lot since watching your stream and I first messaged you. Um, I guess my first question is gonna be, do you really think Hassan and Mike from PA should kill themselves?
I wish they would. Yes.
Do you think that's at all a harmful statement to make that goes against, I don't know, just objective morality?
No. I think their deaths by suicide would make the world a safer place for more people.
But you disagree with Hassan when he said that America deserved 9/11, correct?
Yes, correct.
But wait, I'm confused because that seems like one of those statements has to be hypocritical then.
Oh. Do you think if a guy murders 25 people, and then he's sentenced to death, do you think it's okay to say, I hope that person dies?
I don't think that's the same situation.
I didn't say it was the same situation. If it was the same situation, I would have repeated back exactly what you said back to you. But I didn't do that. I asked you a different question. If a man kills 25 people and he's sentenced to death, do you think it's okay to say, I wish that person would die?
Has Hassan or Mike killed 25 people?
I don't believe so. That's why I said a guy, because it's a hypothetical, not involving a real person. It doesn't involve Mike nor Hassan.
But shouldn't hypotheticals be more like congruent or at least like somewhat similar to the original situation that you're trying to compare them to?
Generally, I agree they should, but I haven't finished my hypothetical because you haven't even engaged with the first part of it. So I'm asking you, do you think it's okay to say a person...
The first part of the hypothetical feels manipulative, so I'm clarifying.
How am I manipulating you, or how is it manipulative to ask you?
Because I'm asking you about how you feel about you thinking that Hassan or Mike should kill themselves, and you're talking to me about some random guy who's killed 25 people, and I'm wondering if either Mike or Hassan have killed 25 people, because then I might change my opinion of them even further.
They haven't. What I'm trying to get at is you claim that there's a hypocrisy between saying that somebody like Hasan or Mike should be removed completely from media or this planet, okay? Maybe via suicide. You're trying to say that if I have that feeling, I must also feel like the 9/11 attacks were fully justified. What I'm about to do is I'm about to make a comparison between saying you can say one person is bad and probably shouldn't exist, and say another group of people don't necessarily have that same badness and shouldn't exist. I'm about to draw a comparison between those two things. Because saying that civilians deserve to be terror attacked when those civilians didn't take a particular action to warrant said retaliation, that's a much different statement than saying somebody that engages in harmful propaganda that is arguably leading to like the destruction of like the fucking world order that is contributing to that kind of stuff. I would say these are two completely different scenarios. So I was going to draw a comparison to show you how absurd those two comparisons were to Hassan's statement and my statement. But also, you could also just think that both are bad. That's fine. But I think we can both agree that they're different. Killing civilians in forms of terrorist attacks are a lot different than saying certain types of propagandists shouldn't exist on the internet.
So, okay, I have a follow-up question then, making another hypothetical. Hypothetically,
I just want to let the record show real quick, okay, because I will engage with you in good faith because I have the brain horsepower to do it. You completely were incapable of engaging with my hypothesis or even grasping the point of my hypothesis.
And we didn't, no, I'm just saying, hold on. Situations that actually happened, though.
That's fine. I know. Situations that actually happened are called examples. My thing was called a hypothetical because it had not happened. That's what a hypothetical is. I'm just putting a pin in the map to let people understand that you are incapable of either understanding or engaging with it. And now we can move on to the next part. That's fine, but I just want to make sure that that's understood. Go ahead.
Okay. So, hypothetically, if some streamers started saying because you were spreading propaganda that you should therefore kill yourself, how would that make you feel?
Not only would I not give a fuck, because I don't care if people saying shit, they've
You're pretty
engaged
desensitized to it by now, huh?
No. They've engaged in worse by saying that people like me should be killed. So it's already on a whole different level.
You have record of them saying that?
Do I have records of people who are driven by these content creators? One, saying where people
but them saying that versus people driven by them, I think are different things, correct?
Them saying it exactly that somebody should be killed? No, but them making arguments that fascists are not to be tolerated, that violence is acceptable to remove fascists from these countries, and that I am a fascist. These are arguments that, yes, they've explicitly made.
Aren't you becoming just as bad for saying that they should kill themselves, though?
No, I think giving somebody the agency to delete themselves is a lot different than encouraging somebody to kill somebody.
Haven't you had friends kill themselves, Destiny?
Yep.
Do you think that they should have killed themselves?
Not necessarily, no.
Why do you think they killed themselves? If you had to guess.
Well, one got caught dealing drugs and felt like his life was over, and the other one probably had major depressive disorder that was untreated for a long time.
Do you think the war on drugs is bad? I'm just asking you questions just to gauge your opinion on things. Yeah,
Generally, I would say... Yeah, I would say the war on drugs is bad, yeah.
Do you think at all, like, the climate of the internet has to do with, like, maybe people making extremist takes that could lead to you saying they're being, like, spreading propaganda, they should kill themselves, or even leading up to them actually killing themselves?
No. I think that the issue...
Do you think that the internet climate has nothing to do with any of that?
No, I think that one of the big follies that we've made is the hyper obsession with bad words, with racial slurs and mean language, and a total abdication of the actual analysis of the semantic content of what people say. And this obsession with thinking that somebody is good because they don't say slurs, and therefore they're like unimpeachable, and everything is it. I think that has been the greatest folly over the past 10 years. Way more than a bunch of dipshits on 4chan telling people to kill themselves or spamming the N-word. Absolutely. Not even close.
Do you have any evidence to compare those two things, like which has done more damage to society?
Do I have any
Because
evidence
I
to
also
compare?
agree that cancel culture has kind of gone to like extremes. Like, there's a lot we probably agree on with that, but I do think it's not better. It's just kind of swinging the pendulum to reinforce statements like this person should kill themselves because they have a bad ideology.
I don't think anybody's killing themselves because somebody on the internet tells them to kill themselves or because they have a bad ideology.
Okay, sorry, anecdotal, but I attempted to kill myself at 15 because of cyberbullying. So
no offense, but if you tried to kill yourself at 15 because of cyberbullying, there was a whole bunch else going on in your life that was probably driving you to that than cyberbullies.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Like getting groomed at 13 from YouTube. Yeah, that absolutely contributed. Yeah,
okay,
like
so it was probably the groom. It was probably
it
was probably the grooming activity when you were 13, more so than
the
randos online telling you to kill yourself.
Doing trauma to my
That's
family.
fine,
I think
sure.
it all impacts each other.
That's great, but I'm just saying that for you to
Also,
blame it on
the
randoms
religious
online, there's probably a
propaganda
whole
that
bunch
some
of
of which
other
you're
shit.
spreading.
What I'm saying is you might have attempted to kill yourself at 15, even if the internet didn't exist, assuming you were still groomed. And I'm saying that to blame it on like cyberbullying, probably not going to be the case.
But I think all of these things, like you're doing research on these wars, right? All of these things kind of can contribute and connect in some ways.
Sure, they could. Sure.
Trauma dumping because losing, not exactly. I'm trying to make a point with this conversation that maybe when we disagree with someone, telling them to kill themselves or calling them a slur, maybe that's, I don't know, not going to improve the world, or and maybe that person in that high school debate is a little bit more right than you are, Destiny. Maybe the point of a debate is actually to try and bring people together and talk about things that are important to us rather than to tear each other down.
Okay, well, most of these people on the left are above and beyond debating. They don't do it anyway, so I guess it doesn't really matter, huh?
Most of these people on the left, I mean, it seems like you're just creating this like huge division that prevents some of the people who might be softer and more sensitive to not want to contribute to these things, even though they have really good opinions and they can contribute to the world. But you being so harsh and telling people to kill themselves so flamboyantly, because it's not just Hasan. I've heard you say it to many people. You've said that you want Lav to kill themselves. So it's like,
Lav is not somebody I'm looking to engage in debate. This is a different type of person.
I bet you have talked about how smart she is. She's one of the smartest people that have been on your
She is intelligent.
streams,
Yeah, I'm sure Hitler was smart too. I'm glad he killed himself. Well, I mean, what's the point of bringing this up?
What is that comparison? Okay.
Hold on. Wait. Do you truly have an incapability of like understanding a comparison? Do you not understand that at all?
I do, but are you
just
saying
tried.
Lav's
You
Hitler?
just said. No, I didn't say Lav was Hitler.
You seem like you like comparisons a lot.
No.
I don't know.
Yeah. I'm
Like
starting to
Lav's
realize.
to Hitler. Where does that come from?
Because you made a comment that made it seem like it was insane that I would want somebody smart to kill themselves. And then I showed you that that was obviously a ridiculous statement because Hitler was probably well above average intelligence and he killed himself. Just because somebody's smart doesn't mean they shouldn't die. I'm sure there are a lot of serial killers. Ted Kaczynski or whatever was probably a pretty smart guy, I imagine. Probably wasn't he? Was like a fucking math genius, right? Also, well, I think he got life in prison, whatever, right? Yeah. So I was just remarking that your comment was really dumb. Didn't make any sense.
Which comment was that? Like
being
Lav,
surprised that I would say that Lav should kill herself when Lav is also smart. Yeah.
I wasn't making the analogy that you think she should kill herself because she's smart. I was just making the analogy where you're saying you're unwilling to debate with her, but you have said that she's smart. So I don't know what that has to do with what I was saying. I'm
Okay.
not saying Lav is
I
sensitive.
understand.
She
Okay.
obviously seems like she's very capable of carrying her own. What I was like getting at was
Okay,
why
I think
why
the
you
overall
think people
point that
that
you're
you
trying to make.
disagree with so much that it should kill themselves. I mean, you ate
It's
her
not
pussy,
people
right?
that I disagree
You
with.
think she should
It's
kill
not people
herself?
that I. It's not people that I disagree with. Yeah, hopefully after I eat her out. Yeah, that would be gross otherwise, right? It's not that I think the people I
No,
disagree
it's
with
gross
should kill
either way.
themselves.
It's really gross either way,
I think it would
honestly.
be more gross to eat out somebody who's fucking dead. But that's just me. Maybe you're into necrophilia. Okay. I think that there are people that
Yikes.
cause an unimaginable amount of harm in the world, and I can understand. I can empathize with.
Do you think you could be one of them?
No, I don't think so. No, I don't.
Really?
Yeah.
You don't think telling people to kill themselves does any harm to the way that people learn to normalize communicating
Does it
with each other,
sometimes?
especially
Yeah,
when there's a lot of young people coming to your stream
it's probably
first
not
time,
perfect.
learning how
Yeah,
to
it's probably
debate.
not perfect. Yeah, probably should tell people to kill themselves in general. Sure. Yeah, I can agree with that. If that's the whole, if the whole point of you coming here is a woke someone tells me to kill themselves, yeah, I probably should
I'm
tell
not.
people to kill
No,
themselves.
no, no. That wasn't even the conversation I wanted to talk to you about today, bro. That was a whole other thing. But I just like that's definitely something that's been on my mind when interacting with you and your community. I know it's banned from your Discord to tell people to kill themselves, but you don't seem to have an issue with it doing live it on your stream. So I was just clarifying your stance on that.
Okay. Well, if it's in my rules, then you obviously aren't allowed to do on my Discord server. So.
Oh, well, yes, but I do see an issue with you doing it because honestly, the first time I really started getting into your content and finding out more about you was that video I saw you taking shrooms with Byron. So Byron's death actually was the catalyst for me being involved in your community. So yeah, that is something that kind of is like whiplash to hear you say so often.
How is it? Why is it whiplash? Why is it? What is telling somebody to kill himself have anything to do with Byron at all? Do you think Byron killed himself because people online told him to kill himself?
That could have absolutely contributed to somebody who may have had BPD, which you also shit on that a lot. For someone to experience the level of hate that the internet can bring, absolutely could affect their mental state.
Okay, we're just gonna have to agree to disagree on that one, I guess.
So have you never ever been affected like mentally by like anything going on online, your community, other people's communities? Because it seemed like you were very upset earlier when you were talking about Hasan's community or others calling you fascist, calling for deaths of people like you.
I haven't been suicidal over it, no. And I never said that it could never affect you. I was saying in the case of Byron, I don't think people being mean to him online influenced
I mean,
his
the order of
suicide.
events was really jarring to me that day. He did kill himself, was because I saw him propose to Becca that day. I was like, oh, this seems off, you know? And then I saw the responses. The responses were very harsh. And then the hours between that and him actually taking his own life was very jarring to me. And having experienced what I did at a younger age and, you know, up until 27, I've been on the internet for a long time. Yeah, I can see the effect it can have on people. So yeah, I absolutely think that the way that people treated him online could have absolutely contributed to that.
Okay, well, we can agree to disagree, as I already said.
Okay, if that's your cope, that's fine.
That's not my cope. That's my experience being friends with
for
two
me,
people
like,
who
when I
were
see
quite
stuff like
close,
that
who were
happen-
suicidal, and it was the fact that you tried to bring up your own potential suicide, and then you immediately overrode why it happened by giving me more context of what happened. So I absolutely wouldn't believe anything you would have to say on the matter of suicide. Of course
Why?
not. Because you already undermined your own story, and now you're trying to tell me you knew Byron
How
better
did
than
I
I
undermine my own
by
story? Would you
telling
like
me
me to elaborate
that
on it more?
not really, because you already undermined it. You
Okay.
told me that you tried to kill
I'm
yourself because
not
of
undermining
cyberbullying
it.
when you were 15, and then you happened to bring up, oh, I was also groomed on YouTube at 13.
Yeah, it was
probably
also
the grooming
groomed by
event had
somebody
more
who
to
reminds
do.
me a lot of you, actually.
That's great. Well, I wish I could have known you at 12, you know, but here we are. It sounds to me like the grooming event at 13 was probably more significant in terms of impacting your mental health than whatever cyberbullying happened at 15. Just a guess, but I could be wrong. I don't know you
It's
personally. I
combined.
might be wrong, so, you know.
They both matter.
Okay.
So actually the grooming was enabled because 4chan leaked my address and they harassed me and they doxed me, and he was kind of like the savior to that because he was the expert social engineer that was going to protect me when I was 13. So yeah, the internet can be pretty fucked, my dude. My point is that
I bet
we
he
all
went on to
have
be
an
a
impact
strong
on it, and we
Hasan
all could make it
subscriber, I'm
better.
sure. We could, yeah, I agree, yeah.
Yeah, we could.
Okay, so I understand the point of this conversation was don't tell people to kill themselves. I understood, noted. All right.
Okay, alright, that was not the initial point. But if you want, we can talk about Israel-Palestine.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. Did you get a chance to listen to that podcast?
I haven't listened to, or I looked at the first two things you sent me, and then I stopped clicking almost everything you sent me. But so no, I have
Okay,
not listened
cool.
to the 2-hour podcast
Wait,
that you sent
have
me.
you had anyone from Palestine on your show, your podcast?
Ever? I'm not sure. I don't think so, no.
Would you be willing to?
If they're not retarded, sure. Or I mean stupid, sorry. Oh my god, I'm so sorry. Stupid, I mean.
Yeah, no, I'm just like wondering why. Is your goal to push propaganda, or is your goal to have conversations with people and actually like solve issues in the world?
Right now, my goal is to just get educated on a topic.
Okay, all right. So I think the best way to start getting educated on the topic is talking to a group of people who are very involved in the topic you're talking about, that who you have admittedly not spoken to. Talking to someone from that group without initially calling them a retard and being more open-minded, I think would serve you best.
Okay,
Honestly.
well, I completely and totally disagree. I actually think the best way to get familiar with the topic is to start with people without talking to people that are intimately familiar with it. Because generally, people that are intimately involved with a thing aren't intimately involved with the entire thing.
Okay,
and they're
so
going to
you've
have a
talked
particular.
to everyone who's
and
not
they
involved,
are,
all
they
these Western
have,
people in
they
your
have,
Discord.
they
I've heard
have,
that. I've
they
seen
have,
that.
They have a particular perspective, and I'm not looking to get just their perspective. The same way that I've told a million Jewish people or people from the IDF that email me saying, I want to come on a chat, the same way I'm telling them, no, I don't think I want to talk to you specifically. It's the same reason why I wouldn't talk to a Palestinian that wants to come on and give his perspective. I'd rather just get familiarized with the history first, and then I'll probably start having debates with people over the subject matter. That's probably what's going to happen.
It sounds like you've already had debates with people over the subject matter, and you've told people to kill themselves for their takes on it.
Well, I tell people to kill themselves when I think that they're creating an actual visceral harm in the world that's going to lead to more death and destruction, yeah. I mean, I probably shouldn't tell people to kill themselves, but that's the impetus. It's not just because we disagree. It's usually because I perceive them as being quite evil.
Wouldn't you want to fully understand the topic before making such a harsh judgment call that their take on the topic is so bad that they should take their own life?
Why? They haven't fully understood any part of the topic at all. It seems like I don't even need to criticize their positions. I can just look at how, for instance, they report on breaking news. That's already exampled.
Didn't you
based
just
on
admit
how
that you're still learning about the topic and you're not fully informed?
me still learning on the topic and not being fully informed doesn't mean that I can't see, for instance, that somebody else isn't informed at all on a topic, right? It doesn't mean that I can't see that somebody else is irresponsibly reporting on, say, whether hospitals are getting bombed or not, right? I don't have to know anything about the history of Israel and Palestine to see that the reporting on that by a lot of left-leaning influencers was completely and totally irresponsible. So. Or when I see a tanky podcast making the argument of settler babies, of Hasan saying that settlers can be babies.
Horrible.
That
You don't have to lump me into that group though, and
okay. Well, you can't hear ostensibly defending Hasan.
Who made that comment should kill. No, okay. So I can disagree with a statement without calling for that person to kill themselves. I'm not that traumatized, Destiny, that I feel the need to tell people to kill themselves when I disagree with them.
No, but you are so traumatized when you hear me tell somebody to kill themselves, you get so fucking triggered over it. You have to come here and
because
throw
I think
two of my friends' suicides on my face to try and make an emotional point
by doing that.
Yeah. Okay. But anyway.
Because yeah, I feel like you're causing direct harm, but I don't feel the need to tell you to kill yourself for it. But I do feel like you're causing harm by doing that.
What if by you telling me to kill myself and me killing myself, I save 100 other people from hearing me saying that they should kill themselves, though?
But that's only if you believe that human beings aren't capable of change. If you believe that your toxicity is so rigid that you're always going to be this toxic.
It is. I am.
Maybe you should do more mushrooms.
Maybe I should say it. Tell me it. Maybe I should kill myself.
Have you heard of Gabor Mate? No, I don't. I actually love you, Destiny.
Oh, cool. Okay. Have I heard of what?
I love you. Have you heard of Gabor Mate?
I'm not sure. No. What is it?
Gabor Mate, he is a Holocaust survivor who is a former Zionist, and he speaks on the plight of the Palestinian people and what's going on in Gaza.
Okay.
He's a really important voice to listen to. I actually got to meet him in person at this Minds Meet seminar with Dennis McKenna and Joe Taffer. It was about like psychedelics and trauma healing. But I think he's a really cool person to listen to on this topic, Israel-Palestine, as well as he does a lot of stuff about ADHD and trauma. There's this book, Scattered Mind. I don't know if you've read any books recently, but I can give you a list of recommendations.
Why would I want to listen to this one guy give his perspective of history without getting a general overview?
He's a former Zionist. He's a former Zionist and a Holocaust survivor. So, yeah, he became a Zionist because obviously Holocaust was bad, horrible. He became a Zionist because he's like really passionate about being able to exist in a society where a lot of Jewish people have been heavily discriminated against. So he became a Zionist, and then he kind of saw how Zionists operate, how they work, how they steal land from people, how they oppress people, and then they, decided, hey, maybe that's not for me, and he started writing books about trauma healing.
Okay, well, in that case, so wait, have you read any of his books?
Yeah, I met him in person, I bought one of his books, had him sign it.
Cool, okay, so you read one of his books, you met him in person. Why don't you give me an argument of his, or a perspective of his that you think might change something that I've said? Go ahead. Also, Chad is saying that he wasn't a Holocaust survivor. He's only 79 years old. So I don't know if that matters.
No, he was a baby in the Holocaust.
When you say baby, do you mean like 2 months old, or do you mean like 4 years old? What?
I'm fact checking that right now.
Oh, okay. I don't know, but that's okay. Go ahead. Um,
Regardless, he did join the Zionist movement and spoke about it.
okay. So tell me something that he said or a perspective you've gotten from him that that you think I would be that it would be helpful for me to know. People apparently saying he was 5 months old during the Holocaust, or the end of the Holocaust.
I think that's still a very traumatic thing to go through as a baby.
I'm not sure. Can you be traumatized by events before you form memories? I don't actually know the answer to that. I'm not sure.
Yeah, you can have memories from 5 months old, actually. And actually, when you're pregnant, and I know you've probably never been pregnant before, and I don't know how good of a dad you were to your wife when she was pregnant, because I know you guys had issues, but when the baby is in the belly, you're supposed to be very careful about what you read to it, what you consume, everything, because the baby is taking all of that in.
Gotcha.
It feels that trauma whether or not it's like cognizant of those memories.
Gotcha. Pretty sure that's almost completely and totally debunked in terms of research. When I was growing up, I think there was
why is the Western medical industry still feeding that information?
When I was growing up, there was a myth cited. I think it was called the Mozart effect. The idea that if you play certain types of musics for your child or anything like that, that it's going to make your child more intelligent or help it or whatever. Pretty sure the general research now just says, like, if you're talking through the belly of the baby or whatever, stuff like that, it can identify voices and stuff coming out of wombs. But like, that's about the extent of it. I'm not sure if you could like call your baby like a fucking loser in the womb and it's going to be traumatized coming out. And then I'm sure that the environment of the womb, for instance, related to your nutrition or doing drugs or whatever, is also incredibly important. But hey, you know, I'm sure you, as somebody who's never given birth in your life, I assume, knows all about this.
I've talked to you before, Destiny. I have a 5-year-old child, but thanks.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah.
Well, I hope you didn't traumatize it in the womb, whatever that means. So
I had a very abusive relationship at the time. My kid has autism. I don't know if that's interlinked, but yeah, it was not good, and I do think it does have an effect.
Damn. You should have played more Hasan streams, I guess, through your belly.
You're making a lot of assumptions, and that's indicative of your character.
Okay.
I don't.
You're right. I'm sorry. You might have actually
streamer.
been playing Hasan streams to the baby, and I just assumed you weren't. My bad. Okay.
No.
Can you give me an argument from the?
Hasan was not streaming back then. I actually watched him grow. You guys both on the Raj show, all that. I have been along for the ride.
Gotcha.
So
give me the pro-Palestinian argument from the one guy that I haven't heard before.
It's a pro-human argument. That's the thing. You framed me as someone. Oh, another thing I wanted to mention. You framed me as someone who's pro-Palestine. I don't inherently identify with that.
Hold on, wait. I haven't framed you as pro-Palestine.
Yeah, you did. I heard you right before I got on stream. This girl's really pro-Palestine. It was right after, by the way. I heard you talk about...
Wait, are you not going to answer my other question? I wanted a perspective. You said you read a whole book by this guy and you met him multiple times. So give me a perspective. Get me interested in him. Tell me something that he said that would like flesh out or maybe alter an opinion I have about this.
I just wanted to note real quick before I get into that, that before stream, you said this about other people, like Cherry, Darius, Lav. All these people are clout chasing from you. But wait, right before I get on stream...
Hold on. I've never said that about any of those people.
I
said,
did
hold on.
hear that.
Wait. Hold on. Wait.
Just to be...
Wait. Hold on. Just to be clear, I've said literally the exact opposite. That was one of my biggest issues in dealing with those types of people.
There's a clip of it. It's okay.
That's fine. I might have said it once in anger, but when in serious conversations... In serious conversations, it doesn't count unless you're a fucking... retard, okay?
It's
in serious conversations,
no,
you being retarded person argument. In serious conversations, when I've talked about Lav or Max or people like this, that's fine. But you made a false accusation against me.
My point is, you treat people like they're leeches, but you said
I don't treat. If I treat people like they're leeches,
you treat people like they're leeches, and right before I got on stream, you said you needed YouTube content. So who's the leech, Destiny?
First of all, if I treated people like leeches, why would I ever talk to randoms that come on my stream?
You do though, but I'm just saying it goes both ways.
How do I treat people like leeches?
All the time.
Give me one example. How did I treat her like a leech? By letting her on my stream over and over again? That's treating her like a leech?
No. What you were saying about right when you got back from TwitchCon, you were like calling them schizo, BPD. You were like talking about them leeching.
I don't know if I call her schizo. I don't talk about them leeching. I literally talk about the exact opposite problem. That my issue with analyzing people like Lav and Max is I can't believe they burned the bridge with me because I would have imagined they would have wanted to leech. It blew my mind that they didn't want to. I don't think most of the people around me are leeches. I think they're mentally ill. No,
and not
maybe my
being able
issue
to
is
acknowledge when you're wrong.
maybe I talk to too many cluster B people. I need to learn to like slow down on that. Maybe that's the issue.
Maybe you just put people in boxes, but you could so easily fit in that same box yourself because some of your behavior looks like BPD to me, Destiny.
Yeah, does it? Well, you know what they say. When you're a BPD person, everything you see is BPD. So who knows? Are you going to tell me what that author said that is going to like help flesh out my view of the Iraq-Israeli? Yeah,
so
go ahead. Or the Israeli-Palestinian process? Go ahead.
Are you willing to like watch any videos of him? He can say it for himself. I could just try and repeat it to you, but I wouldn't be getting it verbatim.
Well, given that
I was just asking you if you knew of that person because he speaks a lot about this, and it seems like you're defending
Edmund, thanks for the $50. Well, given that
you argument, I know you were like saying, "Oh, like no, finger wag, what you're doing in the West Bank is wrong."
I'm going to ask you the same question I was going to ask at the start of this.
Okay,
so, yes. You claim that you had read a full book and that you'd met this hero.
So the book I read, I never said he was a hero. You're putting words in my mouth.
I think you said at 5 months old he crawled out of Auschwitz through a field of landmines.
No, I actually didn't say that. You're putting words in my mouth, and
it was
seem
amazing.
To be really good at that.
Yeah, okay.
But what I was saying was I read one of his books. The book I read was actually Scattered Minds and another book on trauma, but it wasn't inherently based on the Israel-Palestine conflict, but he speaks on it because he has like eyewitness testimony to that. Have you ever been to Israel, Destiny?
Nope. Have you?
No, I haven't.
Oh,
but
cool. Okay.
I like listening to the people who actually have seen this and can see both sides of it. Someone who's a former Zionist who backed that movement, but then saw how flawed it was and how dehumanizing it was to the people on the other side who weren't inherently evil people. It's just what we're brought up to believe, this generational trauma that we all carry, that we're just feeling like we really need to enact this hatred upon each other that we actually don't.
Wow, that's so profound. Wow.
Yeah, I don't know.
I never thought about like Israel-Palestine. We should just look at it through the lens of generational trauma. Oh my God. Like that's just like everything. Wow.
Do you think that you spreading propaganda and humiliating and dehumanizing the other side helps with the conflict, though? More than talking about it through the lens
I don't think I've ever
trauma?
dehumanized the other side. I don't think I'm spreading propaganda. I'm just reading
I think telling them to kill themselves is pretty dehumanizing.
I've never told Palestinians to kill themselves. I'm sorry, is Hasan a Palestinian?
No, but you talking about like people who are on the other side of the conflict.
I wasn't talking about people on the other side of the conflict. I was specifically talking to people that I consider that are engaging in like destructive propaganda to the United States, to Israel, to the Jewish community, and honestly to the entire like world community at large. These are harmful actors that are destructive in nature. Yes, it's frustrating. Yeah.
So do you think that you're also spreading harmful propaganda?
No, I don't think so.
Like that charred baby that you shared, that Ben Shapiro shared, where you're like, there's no evidence to prove that this is fake.
Yeah? What about it?
Okay, so I actually did find evidence of that. I'll link it to you later because it'll take me a minute.
Actually, let's put a pin on this conversation right now. Let me know. Yeah, I'll wait. Show me the evidence. Let's go find it. I'm curious. I want to see it. Yeah. Okay.
Yes. All right, awesome.
We'll wait. Yeah.
But it is records about the bombing in the area where those babies were supposedly beheaded. And there's evidence directly admitted from the IDF about them like doing that destruction. So all those charred babies were actually because IDF is like, oh no, Hamas is in there, let's bomb the place. And then the babies were charred.
Gotcha. So just to be clear, you're telling me that the IDF bombed their own cities inside of Israeli territory, and that's where the dead babies came from.
There are also many
No, wait, can you answer that? Wait, can you answer that question? I'm just trying to make sure I understand what you're saying. You're telling me
that is what is being said. That is what is being said.
Okay, gotcha. I can't wait for you to present me that argument.
So it is also being said that they beheaded babies, and then you posted pictures of those charred babies. So that was being said. So it is now being said that the IDF is directly admitting to bombing those areas.
Gotcha. And inside Israel, right?
Yes.
Gotcha. Okay.
And then also what I was going to say is that there is eyewitness testimony to people who were like being, I guess, captured by Hamas that were gunned down in the crossfire. Like in the battle between IDF and Hamas, a lot of civilians were killed during that by eyewitness testimony.
Gotcha.
So that initial number that they're saying like Hamas killed this many people, there was actually like a lot of crossfire and other things that were happening with that, a lot more nuance to that.
Are you looking for sources right now? Is that what we're waiting
Yeah,
for?
I am. Can I ask you another question while I look for it?
Well, now you're spreading propaganda, so I'm kind of waiting to. I haven't
But
heard
you
anybody.
said
I haven't heard
nothing can
anybody.
prove that this is
What?
false.
I didn't
You
say. I
spread
didn't
it
say.
first.
Hold on.
You said nothing proves that this is false.
That's what I said.
Like what is that? You're showing it without evidence. That's spreading
The
propaganda.
evidence
right?
is that Israel posted a picture and
Yes.
also showed other journalists who were in the area. They posted stuff saying this is a picture of one of the charred babies.
Israel never posts propaganda ever.
Okay, so then a picture isn't evidence?
But Israel never posts propaganda ever. So everything Israel says is 100% fact.
I didn't say that. But what they posted is evidence. If you want to impugn them on the evidence, or if you want to discredit the evidence, then discredit the evidence. But as of my understanding, was everything that had been posted, nothing had been disproven so far. And there are a ton of international journalists that are in the area that are being shown stuff by Israel, that are going through villages and documenting stuff. I haven't heard of any of them challenging the claims of any of the atrocities that Hamas committed when they made the incursion on October 7th. I haven't heard that from anybody yet. So I'm curious where your claims are coming from.
Yes, I will share with you a video. You can watch it on stream, and you can look into the claims that this guy is making and decide if they're false or not. It's a 6-minute long video.
It's time to break this narrative once and for all. New video. And the quote is, before they launch missiles, they launch propaganda campaigns. Before they roll out tanks, they roll out narratives. Okay, let's see. On Twitter, this guy's name is Propagandco.
Well, that's not that guy's name. This is an account sharing the original video. You'd have to.
Gotcha. Okay, that's great. Yeah. Why the fuck would I waste my time reading all these boring ass articles when I can watch TikTok videos? All right, here we go.
It's a 6-minute video. Whatever.
Let's see. Here we go.
Have you seen
Why would
this
I
video?
waste my time reading books when I can read Wikipedia? Says that.
We found 8 babies burned in this corner.
An Israeli soldier conducts an interview in front of a destroyed home of a kibbutz. He says Hamas fighters burned babies and then beheaded them, but this is all a lie, and I'm going to prove it to you using Israeli media. Yes, that is right, Israeli media. But first, let's ask an important question. How did the concrete walls of this home behind the soldier turn into rubble? Fires burn wood and other flammable items. They do not collapse concrete structures like this.
Children in the same room, then someone come and kills them all. 15 girls and teenagers that put in the same room, 3 hand grenades, and this over. This is a massacre.
Now, the Israelis want you to believe that Hamas fighters did this, but we know that they were only armed with machine guns and small grenade launchers. That doesn't cause this level of damage. So then how did they...
So the first claim that I would take issue with is that doesn't cause this level of damage. I don't know how much damage grenade launchers cause. Do you?
I do not.
Also, isn't it known that Hamas carries RPGs with them as well? Pretty sure they do, but okay, let's continue to go along. He did show the one video, so okay.
level of damage. So then how did they destroy concrete homes like this? The answer is they didn't. The Israelis did. What? That is shocking. But why? And how would the Israelis do that? Well, Israeli media has all the answers. They interviewed the IDF soldiers who responded to the Hamas attack, and they learned...
We're citing Gray Zone. So for anybody watching, I wouldn't recommend anything from this website. It's generally garbage, but that's okay. He's going to cite this publication as Gray Zone, okay?
Soldiers who responded to the Hamas attack, and they learned something shocking. The IDF was struggling to handle the Hamas fighters. Tuval Eskapa, or however you pronounce his name, a member of the security team for Kibbutz Be'eri, set up a hotline to coordinate between kibbutz residents and the Israeli army. He told the Israeli newspaper Haaretz that as desperation began to set in, the commanders in the field made difficult decisions, including shelling houses on their occupants in...
Okay, let's see. And even though they were overrun by Hamas militants, how many Israeli citizens have been burned alive or actually killed by friendly fire? Oh, our good friend Max Blumenthal. Several new testimonies by Israeli witnesses to the October 7th Hamas surprise attacks on southern Israel adds to the growing evidence that the Israeli military killed its own citizens as they fought to neutralize Palestinian gunmen. Tuval Eskapa, a member of the security team for Kibbutz Be'er, set up a hotline to coordinate between kibbutz residents and the Israeli army. He told the Israeli newspaper Haaretz that as desperation began to set in, the commanders in the field made difficult decisions, including shelling houses on their occupants in order to eliminate the terrorists along with the hostages. A separate report published in Haaretz noted that the Israeli military was compelled to request an aerial strike against its own facility inside the Frez crossing in Gaza in order to repulse the terrorists. So they can, an Israeli woman named, confirmed, hold on, I'm just reading the rest of the article here. The military undoubtedly killed numerous Israeli non-combatants during gun battles with Hamas militants on October 7th. They eliminated everyone, including the hostage, she stated, referring to Israeli special forces. Is there anybody else at all that's corroborating these reports?
Let me look into it further.
Okay.
In order to eliminate the terrorists along.
Destiny, this is fake. Haaretz never reported this. Wait, what do you mean? What do you mean by that? Link me that if you are saying that. Oh shit, hold on.
I also want to ask you, have you noticed like say people like Jackson Hinkle, like that type, like jumping onto this and being like the main source of news throughout this? Have you seen any of that? I was curious about your take on that.
Yes. What about it?
Like the far right kind of just being opportunistic with this and spreading further propaganda.
Sure. What about it?
I was just curious about like yeah, your take on all of that. Because I did notice when like trying to find more information about this, like how much of that there is. It seems to be a lot, and it's kind of hard to differentiate sometimes, as well as like a lot of like crypto accounts and stuff like that.
Well, it's not that hard at all. I basically ignore every single thing that Jackson Hinkle says. He's a literally avowed propagandist But I also ignore everything that like Blumenthal or everything that comes out of like the gray zone. Also, I would completely. This is like on like Jackson Hinkle. Okay. Also, hold on 1 second. This is 6 hours ago. Wait, when is this video footage? Hold on.
Also, speaking of news sources, what are like some of the ones that you think are most reliable?
Which news sources are most reliable? I feel like mainstream publications try to hold themselves the most accountable because they'll get the most blowback if they fuck up. And then there are some independent people on Twitter, people that work like in OSINT, like open source intelligence or whatever, that are interesting to follow along. Some people have good track records for it. And then depending on the particular type of conflict you're looking at, there are going to be different types of reporters or scholars who write frequently about it, and they'll have interesting stuff to say about it. But generally, you look for the people that report on it the most or have talked about it for a long history of time and have a good record or track record of talking about it. Destiny, that Haaretz goes to a Hebrew page. No shot. Blumenthal speaks Hebrew. Is there any way you can get that full article? I'm curious. People are sending me a video of Hamas members ambushing a random civilian car in Israel with RPGs. I personally don't know where this is from. I see that the camera says October 7th on the top left. I think that's the date, 10/7, right? Fucking, it's not written in American. And you see them like walking around with like RPGs and shit. Is this supposed to be in Israel? Is that where this is right now? Am I reading this correctly? Wait, hold on. What? 1 second. Oh, actually, interesting. 1 second. If somebody can find me that original Haaretz article, I would be very curious if you can find it unpaywalled. I would appreciate it if I could read that. I do see a tweet by Haaretz.com. I'm assuming this is the actual publication. It's got almost 500,000 followers on Twitter. Jackson Hinkle made a tweet saying, Haaretz investigation exposes all of the Israeli lies from October 7th. It confirms that the number dead is 900, not nearly 2,000. 50% were Israeli soldiers. Most deaths have signs of being dead during tank shelling. No evidence that Hamas burned any Israelis, but burns occurred from Israeli shelling. No beheaded babies. Defiling of Hamas fighters' bodies while Israeli soldiers were taken with respect to morgues. And the number of people Hamas shot is less than 100. Most were settlers with guns on them. Israel has lied about everything while committing a grotesque genocide. Share the truth. So that was a Jackson Hinkle tweet. Haaretz quoted that tweet and said, the post seen in this photo contains blatant lies about the atrocities committed by Hamas on October 7th, and it has absolutely no basis in Haaretz reporting then or since on our website. So it sounds like, now I could be wrong, but it reads like Haaretz is saying that they have never reported on that. So if Blumenthal from the Gray Zone is quoting their paper and saying it was said there, it sounds like he's probably lying, or something else is happening we need to dig a little bit deeper into. But also, there's tons of videos that have been linked now in terms of Hamas going into Israel during these incursions with RPGs, even if you don't believe the plans that they said they'd found that had RPGs with them. But I'm sure you can Google and look at any number of videos. Okay, hold on. I've got a link to an article. I can't put this article on screen, guys. I don't know if there's like dead bodies here. Actually, wait, I don't think there are dead bodies. Okay, hold on. Haaretz. Haaretz? Is that it? Sorry, okay. Okay, right-click, translate to English. In the last week, we're going to read this article. Take me 4 minutes, okay? In the last week, a new and strange routine took shape in the Gaza... Wait, what is the date on this? Just so I make sure. Is there a date on this? October 20th. Oh, okay. In the last week, a new and strange routine took shape in the Gaza Strip. The entire area has become a closed military area surrounded by barriers within which large military forces move. Among them are citizens who live in the kibbutzim and volunteers who try to retrieve objects and memorials from the ruins and locate and bring human remains for burial. From time to time, a small convoy passes by on its way to the funeral. In most of the surrounding kibbutzim, the army only allows a handful of attendants to enter the cemetery. We meet Toval Escapa, I think this is the person that Blumenthal cites in his article, and Roy Meisner as they are removing items from a burned-out MMD in Kibbutz Bari. Inside, under the youth's bed in the room, is still the body of the dog of the 6 members of the family that escaped through the window. They hid under a bush outside, and there 4 of them were murdered. The 2 children, the young men, survived when their parents protected them with their bodies and managed to escape to the neighbor's house. Escapa and Meisner, I might be butchering these names, sorry, fill a box with toys and clothes that they take out of the room, dolls, plastic dinosaurs, a toy gun, and also the Iranian flag that the murderous terrorists left behind. Then the 2 continue to the home of a missing person from the kibbutz. The members of her family asked for an object from which DNA could be extracted, as well as objects and items of clothing with a smell, such as perfumes and creams. The house was not burned, but the bloodstains and chaos indicate that it had taken place. Even before the objects reached the family members, they received a message that the mother's body had been identified. Escapa is a caretaker of the garden, Noynik, and a member of Barry's standby squad. Luckily for him, on the day of October 7th massacre, he was outside the kibbutz on the occasion of the bachelor party. He and other friends set up a HML to coordinate between the residents and the army forces. The recordings received from the besieged residents reminded him of those released from the Yom Kippur War. Panic shouts of "Where is the army?" And in the background, you hear the clutches and the RPG. His voice broke when he remembered his partner, who was besieged in MMD at the time. According to him, only on Monday night and only after the commanders in the field made difficult decisions, including shelling houses on their occupants in order to eliminate the terrorists without knowing whether the Israelis in those buildings were alive or dead, the IDF completed the takeover of the kibbutz. The cost of the Hamas attack was terrible. At least 112 Berry residents were killed. Others were kidnapped. Yesterday, 11 days after the massacre, the bodies of a mother and her son were discovered in one of the destroyed houses. It's believed that more bodies are lying in the rubble still. Since Tuesday, Escapa and the team of the re-established emergency squad, after most of its members died in the battle, have taken on the task of rescuing the objects in the houses. There are normal assignments and there are sensitive assignments, he says. The first type include items such as hearing aids, shoes, clothes, ID cards, and passports, toys, or pots. The second type includes, for example, a family for whom, okay, these are his items that they got, just want to go a little bit more. According to him, we are still missing many pieces of the puzzle. My friend saved his 2 children. He hid them under the bed and opened the emergency room and stood for them to take care of them. They murdered him, but I wanted to know if they shot him in the face. Did the children hear it? Luckily for me, luckily for them. Probably didn't happen to them. It's a little comforting. Perhaps comforting is not the right word. He adds that there were families who said that there was no chance he would find anything in their homes, but he's still looking. Even small things, even a pot or object of some child, some toy. I was in contact with a classmate of mine whose mother is missing. I found 2 albums. Now she's, I see the stains are still bleeding. You see where they were dragged and where they were shot. Nobody wants to see it. We were in a group of people with a strong soul. I don't think I'm different from anybody else. The other day, let's see, MK Simcha Rothman came to visit the kibbutz. Escapa shouted at him and almost physically drove him out of the place. I took off my sunglasses and said, "Look at me in the eyes. How dare you come here? Fly off. You have blood in your hands. It's on you and your friend." He came to put his hand on my shoulder. I screamed at him, "You have murdered too many people here. I don't remember myself like that. I was sure I'd beat him. Let them not come on a political tour. When were they massacred us for 6 hours. He didn't." I'm guessing there's like a translation difficulty. He didn't dare look up at me. Near the entrance of Kibbutz Rhyme, we meet Meyer Beryl and other volunteers from the 360 organization, which recently split from Zaka and deals with disaster relief. The other day, MK, who is this? MK Simcha Rothman. Curious who this is. One second. Rothman is part of a coalition, and they are blamed for doing nothing. Is an Israeli lawyer, right-wing activist, and politician. He's part of the far-right religious Zionists. Gotcha. He's at a court hearing on his request for a restraining order against protesters. Gotcha. Okay. All right.
What?
Occasionally, they locate body parts of the whole families in the field. Children's guitar. According to the evidence, according to the investigations, the terrorists fled towards Moshav Patish. Barrett explains, we search in orchards, in rows of cauliflowers. We scan the area. We check on, according to him, there are all kinds of signs in the field. Smells first indication, besides color. The ground changes color. Maggots and blah, blah, blah. Yesterday, they found another body of one of the terrorists. He was wearing a shirt belonging to Az-ad-Din al-Qassam, the military wing of Hamas, but he looked African. Beryl said, I was told that they found dozens of them near Oz. I have a feeling that this is part of our falling asleep. There are mercenaries here from Africa who have gathered for this attack. Right now I'm a very high adrenaline rush. I'm very busy. Yesterday I was at a wedding in Bani Brank. I understand they were dancing. Blah, blah, blah. Robbie's, Lowlands. Okay, let's see this. One of his accomplices has been shown. He was at the party and riot, managed to escape from the terrorists, but returned to rescue the wounded and was killed. The party complex, the evidence of the massacre is becoming more and more blurred. The bodies were moved for identification and burial. The burned vehicles were excavated. Evacuated. Here you can see the soil that has changed its color. At the beginning of the week, there was still a Yalmo building that was used for tickets. Inside it during the massacre, 5 mobsters hid for 4 hours, wounded and scared to death. Mobsters? I don't think this means like bad people. I think this is like partiers or something. I think it's a translation thing. Wounded and scared to death. At one point, they were robbed by an armed man from Gaza who demanded their money. Now he already knows for sure that we are here and we have nowhere to run. In my head, I was constantly waiting for him to come back with more friends and prayers to finish the story. I'd already accepted my fate and realized that it would end, that I was going to die, and nothing would matter because I was already dead. Fortunately, the terrorists skipped the room where the group was in. Okay. Okay, this is the end here. In the many days we spoke, hold on. In the many days, we spoke with survivors and refugees from kibbutzim surrounding Gaza. Askapa Mabari was the first to talk about rehabilitation and return to the kibbutz, not at the end of the war, not in months, not now. According to him, I'm a fanatic of the kibbutz. I love the place, the people, the being. We were hit by a blow that cannot be described from Saturday to Tuesday. We were in the market, but now there is something in the community that brings people back into the groove, that strengthens the community. It's clear to me that not everything was going on. In the meantime, the kindness of the kibbutz, which has become a military base, did not allow him to return to sleep at home. He discussed my sleep in the room assigned to them. The fears that at night they mistakenly identified as terrorists, but Escapa is determined to return to his house and restore it. As a newbie, I have a license, blah, blah, blah. Okay. All right. This article does not support anything that was being said in the Jackson Hinkle tweet, and definitely does not support anything being said in the video.
Okay.
It sounds like there's one line in here.
It does sound like it is blurred, though.
No, it doesn't.
They did clarify
no,
that.
It doesn't.
Does say, you read that out loud.
I did read it. There is a line in here where he says that when terrorists were occupying some buildings, that decisions had to be made to like fire on these, not knowing there might have been people inside. But that was a civilian commenting, right, who was talking to IDF people, okay? There's no verification that there were civilians killed by the IDF. There's no other mention of this, of the IDF mass bombing their village. There's no indication here that that statement isn't even treated with severity, right? Like, you realize that in an article like this, that like if a serious claim was being levied that the IDF was killing its own civilians, it probably wouldn't be one throwaway line in this article. Do you understand that? Also, I don't know this, but I could be missing some of the context of that person's statement because I'm translating from Hebrew and I'm using an auto-translator.
Yeah.
However,
yeah, for sure.
as somebody that is media literate and as somebody that's read a ton of articles, it would be really strange to me that there is a line in here that the IDF is contributing to a significant amount of civilian death in their own lands, and that would be one throwaway line in this article, and that Haaretz themselves would tweet out saying that no part of Jackson Hinkle's tweet that is claiming what you're claiming is true, or that guy in the TikTok video is claiming it's true, that they say it's false.
I don't necessarily agree with Jackson Hinkle. He's a big red flag for me. So I don't take me sharing what you're asking me to share like with you as like that's what I believe.
Gotcha.
I'm just trying to clear up the narrative for everybody. So yeah, I'm not as biased as you might think I am.
That's fine. I'm not saying you're biased. Well, you are biased. It's mainly a claim about how stupid you're being. Okay. when you came in
okay.
here, when you came into this conversation, one of your initial questions that you asked towards me almost seems self-evident to you. Wouldn't you talk to people there? Or wouldn't you like confer with like a Palestinian or even an Israeli about what happened before doing your own research?
Are you on
Stuff
Adderall right
like
now?
this. That question doesn't even make sense. Adderall makes me way more calm than not being on Adderall. So your question doesn't make sense.
I know what Adderall does.
I don't know what drugs you take or if you're even prescribed or what you do. I don't care, but I'm just saying your comment didn't make sense like most of the comments you made tonight, okay?
I'm just like, you're coming off very intense and you're making a lot of assumptions, and I see that you are very amplified,
yes,
but
I am
it's like
amped.
you're not necessarily
Listen,
representing what I'm actually
no,
saying.
hold on. I'm
in
literally
good faith.
quoting back at you. First of all, I am amped about this because the more I learn about a situation, usually the more irritated I get about misinformation. Ukraine-Russia was another one of these. This is becoming another one of them for me, okay?
Which is why I'm irritated that you don't know who Gabor Mate is. Because he's a very important voice to listen to.
If he's writing alternative health books on trauma, he probably has fuck all to say about Israel-Palestine. That's just my guess. That's just my guess, okay?
How many books have you read on Destiny?
However, my autobiography, I reread it every single day and I add a new sentence to it, okay? I can't wait for the...
Sorry.
Yes, I can't wait to write the past for today, okay?
Do you need a hug?
So what you're doing right now and what you've engaged in right now is exactly the reason why I don't engage in this type of research.
So,
why I won't find a random video of some guy. I don't even know if this guy's Palestinian or not. Why I won't find a video of some guy to give me a greatest hits compilation of highlighted quotes from the gray zone to tell me how I should feel about this. This is why I prefer to read several news articles, get acquainted with the history, and then go through reputable accounts on Twitter or first or second hand reports from international media to find out what's true. Because it's already taken me 20 minutes to go through the first claim in this video to see that the claim is basically entirely bullshit.
So that video is actually not the main focal point of why I want to talk to you right now.
Gotcha. Okay, well, hold on. Instead of giving like side bullshit, instead of the one guy you cited that you haven't read any books about the conflict or you can't tell me anything you said about the conflict, instead of giving me this random...
He hasn't written books on the conflict, but he recommended them, and you're making assumptions again, Destiny, and we would have a much more productive conversation if you'd actually listen to what I'm trying to tell you.
So don't link me stuff that you don't care about. Okay, I'm not going to assume.
I do care about it, but I actually want to link you something that I care about more, that is actually more of a personal topic for both of us.
Okay. Wait, so we're done talking about Israel-Palestine then? Or
we are talking about that because it all does connect in a way, in my opinion. And that's actually what Gabor Mate talks about. You should really listen to him sometime.
Yeah.
So you said that there's no way that Byron could have been like impacted by things people were saying online.
I said that it seems super not relevant to the entirety of his life.
So could you please play the video I just sent you?
I'm not going to play videos of Byron
crying when someone's telling him to kill himself and he's trying to reason with them and say, hey, I'm a human on the other end of this. You don't think that's relevant to people committing suicide online and you so regularly telling people to kill themselves?
Nope, I don't. I really don't.
Which then normalizes that behavior for your entire audience, some of which are underage.
Mm-hmm. Well,
you don't think the video of Rekful crying, saying, hey, please stop telling me to kill myself. Like, why are you doing that? That really hurts me. You think that because you're not sensitive, that other people who are sensitive should just, like, fuck off?
If you're sensitive, listen, if you're sensitive, you probably shouldn't be doing...
Did you consider Byron a friend of yours?
I did. That's why I know him better than you ever have, and at this point, ever will, unless you find a way to travel back into the past, which is really fucking strange that you're trying to talk to me. Although I understand it's really common that cluster B people think that they're ultimately empaths that can read everybody else's emotions, even the dead. Okay, somehow you're able to do that, okay?
Have you seen this clip before?
Yes, I have. I'm familiar with the issues that Byron had with online communities. Byron's mental health issues, him taking 2 grams of mushrooms a day for months, okay? Him cycling through all sorts of crazy treatments to figure out how to treat his shit. I don't think it had to do as much with online bullying. I think that he had severe mental issues.
You don't think it had any impact, so you don't want to play the video? You don't think it's relevant?
I'm not going to sit here and have you play weird videos about people that you don't know and don't give a fuck about towards me when this person's my friend and kill himself.
I definitely give a fuck.
You don't give a fuck. He's a tool. Listen, somebody literally just linked this to you in your chat. I'm watching your chat. I see it happen.
No, I've seen it.
No, you're not. Somebody literally linked it to your chat.
I've
linked it to me.
watched this video
I don't care that you watch it.
with my partner who worked for Rekful, actually.
That's great. Worked for Rekful? What, did he edit a thumbnail for him?
Something that mattered a lot to him.
That's great. All right, listen, that's fine. I don't need your perspective on my friend's suicide, okay? I'm good on that. I'm super chill on it.
And I don't think you telling people to kill themselves is good for the rest of society, and I do think it impacted Rekful, and I do think that the way we treat each other online actually fucking matters.
Mm-hmm. Maybe, Gabor Mate's son hosts a show for the Grey Zone. That's interesting. I didn't know that. Listen, if you wanted to come in here at the very beginning and you just wanted to say, hey, telling people to kill themselves online is kind of mean. Probably shouldn't do that. It's not going to good people. I'd probably agree with you. Yeah, probably not. It's probably me getting a little bit too amped up. I wouldn't necessarily disagree with that. I don't know why you feel like you need to dig in.
You did
Israel,
disagree
Palestine.
with that, actually. You did disagree with that. The thing is, Destiny, you always tell people how willing you are to listen to criticism.
Not only did I
really
not disagree with it, I'm pretty sure that if we go back in this conversation, I think I explicitly said to you, yeah, I probably shouldn't tell people to kill themselves.
No, you explicitly said people like Hasan should kill themselves because they're doing harm to society.
I said that the world would probably be better off if these people disappeared forever from the internet. I think that was the phrase that I used.
That's not what you said, and you can go back and you can listen to the words
you can go
say.
back, cut it up for your YouTube channel, okay?
No, I'm good. I don't need to do that. That's the thing. I don't feel the need to put other people down for content.
Oh, really? You don't think you were putting me down in this conversation for content?
Do you feel put down? Am I hurting
Obviously,
your
you're
feelings?
putting me down. You're not hurting my feelings.
How
You
am I
can't hurt
putting
my
you down?
feelings.
I'm letting you know that something that you're doing contributes to like overall society, and it affects people, and it does harm people, whether or not you're willing to face that.
Oh, gotcha. Okay, so you making weird references about how involved I was with my son or my son's mom's pregnancy?
I didn't say anything about your son. Oh, okay, yeah. I made that assumption because you did admit to that on stream before, and you like have gone on.
Wait, what did I admit to on stream? What did I admit to on stream?
How toxic your guys' relationship was, and it's okay. It's but like when you're saying how like somebody who was in the Holocaust at 5 months old can't remember that, or that can't affect them.
Yeah,
that's
because
a really
you typically don't start forming memories until you're about 2 years old. That's typically how the human brain works. Maybe some people remember what life was like at 4 months. Maybe that's what it feels like to you, since mentally that's where your maturity's at. But for most people, it's about 2 years old, I think, is when we start having actual long-term memories that we can recall later in life.
Are you a psychology expert, a childhood development expert, Destiny?
Maybe it's 1 year. Let's look. When do you start, or what will we look for? When is the average person's earliest memory? Psychologists have debated the age of adults' earliest memories. Most modern data suggests somewhere between the ages of 2 and 4 on average. So it sounds like I was giving you even the benefit of the doubt. It's probably a little bit later. Although this link down here, it turns out the earliest memory forward a year to about 3.5 years old. Okay, so this one goes to as early as a year, possibly.
I think if a baby were pulled out of the rubble from a bomb at 5 months old, whether or not they can cognitively remember that still would impact them in some type of way.
I mean, health-wise, sure. If you get injured or something, it could. I don't know the answer to whether or not babies can have traumas, like emotional traumas, before 1, 2, 3, 4 years old. I'm sure they probably can. I would imagine they could. Like I know physically they almost absolutely can. I'm sure if you're in an environment where people are screaming at you a lot, you probably could. But having like the macro wherewithal to recognize that you're in a Holocaust, I don't know if a baby could recognize that. I'm not sure about that.
Okay, so perhaps then, like, they leave that. Their parents and everybody around them was old enough to experience that, and they were raised under that lens of reality. So that still impacts them, whether
Absolutely,
or not
I'm sure it would. Yeah, of course.
Events.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely, that's
true.
Yeah,
what I'm saying is there's no reason to then devalidate and devalue what that person who you've never listened to before is saying because he was only 5 months old when he experienced the Holocaust.
Why would I devalue what he's saying because he was only 5 months old?
That's what you did when I brought him up.
Because you brought him up and part of the expertise you cited was Holocaust survivor. And calling a 5-month-old Holocaust is a little bit...
I wasn't citing that as expertise. I was citing who he was and the background he had and why I think he's relevant to this conversation.
Okay.
Because he was a Holocaust survivor, so therefore he became a Zionist.
Sure.
And which is, the opposition to the people of Palestine. They hate the Zionists, not necessarily the Jews, but the people who are actively taking their land,
A lot of them hate the Jews too. A lot of them hate the Jews too.
Yeah, a lot of them, but I would not say the majority of them. I would say the majority of people who preach hate towards somebody in that situation, it's the settlers, the people who are taking their homes, who are creating legislation to push them out, to make them disappear.
Gotcha. Pretty sure the majority of Palestinians right now are in favor of the elimination of the country of Israel. Now, what that entails for the Jewish people there, I'm not sure, but I think the most recent polling data shows that the majority of Palestinians are in favor of eliminating the country of Israel completely.
Are you in favor of eliminating Palestinians from the country of Israel?
Palestinians from the country of Israel? No.
Yeah. No. So
Pretty sure
what do you think is with all the research you've done, since you're so, well read on this topic, what do you think the solution would maybe be? in a situation like this?
There has to be some sort of probably two-state solution with the United States mediating, where every other Arab country comes to the table and agrees with Israel.
Why would the United States mediate? Question.
Because Israel can't be the only person on their side of that conversation. And it probably needs
Why not some other country other than the U.S.? Why
who else is going to mediate that?
That's my thing with the 2006 election as well. Is
Hold on, wait, I'm sorry, wait.
The U.S.
Who else?
meddling so deeply into these affairs?
What? Because the U.S. saved the world in World War II and became the de facto head of NATO, like the most arguably important military alliance that existed in all the history of the world, and has been essentially like the leader of the free world in terms of ensuring like territorial integrity, and sometimes doing fucked up shit in other countries in the world. That's why. Whether it's fair or not, I don't know, but that's the history. Yes. So who else would take point on figuring, and also, because no offense, but based on the very limited understanding of history I have, Britain sucks at doing foreign affairs, okay?
I feel like that would just feel like further occupation for the Palestinians, who are already probably being pushed to more extremist viewpoints on this situation.
So it seems,
the U.S. has directly meddled in to the conflict becoming what it is today.
Okay, so if not the U.S. taking point on those negotiations, who should?
Probably not like Britain. Honestly, I don't think any like Western, European, majority white ruled country would go over well with.
Don't know what race has to do with this, but tell me who should then.
Not Netanyahu and not Biden. I don't think that's gonna.
So you have no answers. Okay, so very convenient then that no Western leader can take place.
But why do you think it should be the Western? Why do you think it should be the U.S.?
Because Israel needs somebody that's.
The U.S. is the great.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you wanted me to answer the question.
We're so popular.
Because Israel probably feels like they want somebody on their side that can advocate for their security interests, and the United States would obviously be willing to do that. But if you think not the U.S., then give me another country. I'll wait. Tell me a country.
So do you think that the U.S. or Israel would be okay if, say, like, instead of the U.S. being the one, maybe it's like, I don't know, Iraq or Iran or Egypt or someone else? I think they would be maybe like, oh, no, we don't like this. We want the people who are on our side to be the mediators.
Iraq and Iran and Egypt probably wouldn't be good people to be intermediaries for this agreement, because all three of those countries have gone to war trying to eliminate Israel at least 4 times. So, no, it probably wouldn't be good if they took point on those negotiations. Israel rightfully probably wouldn't be comfortable with them taking point on those negotiations. Apparently, the Holocaust survivor guy that you listened to talk to about this issue so much neglected to mention that. So, no, those 3 countries especially would be the worst.
The thing is, Destiny, there are clearly things that you are uninformed about.
I understand. Tell me. Yes, tell me. What am I uninformed? So, give me a country. Give me one country. Give me a country then. Give me a country.
If you want to be more informed on this, if you want to be more informed on this, I suggest you yell at people less and inform yourself more. Listen to what Gabor Mate has to say. Listen to other people who are more directly involved in this than you and the people in your Discord.
Yes, for the past fucking 4 days, all I've been doing nonstop is reading about this. That's all I've been doing.
But you told me that you didn't want to directly talk to people who are involved in the conflict. I honestly think maybe it's time you start doing that.
How about I get current on the history? Then once I feel like I've got a good skeleton to the history, then I'll probably start talking to people that are involved in it.
Why not both at the same time?
Because I don't want a biased retelling of what's happening in the region.
It seems like you're already biased whether you like it or not.
I'm sorry, but if history is biasing me against the Palestinians, that's their fault, not mine, okay? I'm just trying to do the driest reading of history possible. I haven't had any of the 50 billion Jewish or Israeli or IDF people come onto my stream and talk to me, despite tons of them emailing me I want to, and I've said as much to people in my chat. I don't want Israelis coming on my fucking Discord to tell me what they think about the conflict. I don't care. All I'm doing is reading through literally fucking Wikipedia to get up to date on the history of the region. That's all I'm doing. I'm not going to have people trying to bias me one way or another.
Anything other than Wikipedia? Are there any books you're reading right now on it?
If I feel like I need to flesh out my information more on this particular topic, then I might pick up a book on it if I need to. I don't know if I need to right now. Right now, 99% of the people that tell you to pick up a book and read about this haven't actually. Like you haven't read a single thing on this.
No, that's
you
not
don't
true.
know anything.
I'm actually reading on it right now.
I'm telling you, listen
I've
to
been
me.
reading on it,
Kat,
which is actually why Gabor Mate
Kat.
stuck out to me so much, is because once I started hearing about the Palestinian conflict years ago, what he had to say actually reigned very like he feels like the most authentic voice I've actually listened to about
that's
this,
great.
Not trying to spread
that's
propaganda.
Really good. If you want me to recommend you some good historians on this,
he recommends
stop.
really good
If
books
you want
that
me
you
to
should probably
recommend
check
you
out.
some good historians on this, I can. Because believe it or not, there's actually a whole new era. They're called the new Israeli historians who actually do write about this type of stuff and have critically challenged older Zionist narratives.
Israeli historians.
Yes.
Okay, so anyone other than the Israeli perspective.
You don't
Have you
even
read
know what you're
anything other than
talking
that?
about. You're so stupid. You're so clueless. You have no idea what you're talking about. This is like whatever historian you brought up. I've never even heard them referenced in regards to maybe they do write authoritatively.
They're not a historian.
Then why would I give a fuck about what they have to say?
So you only give a fuck about people if they're historians?
When we're writing about history? Yeah, I'm trying to listen to historians. What do you mean?
What about people who have lived through history?
Those
I think their
people that
experience
have,
also
no,
matters. A lot of
doesn't.
people who
No, it
are
doesn't.
historians.
No, it
hey,
doesn't. I'm
Destiny,
sorry. But it
I've
doesn't.
listened
I'm
to
sorry.
some historians. A lot of people who are historians, you'll actually see them interview people who lived through history.
True.
Isn't that crazy?
That's true. But that's like saying, I'm going to figure out if this drug works by talking to one person in the trial instead of seeing what the ultimate result of the study was.
No one's telling you to just talk to one person.
You're
I'm
telling me to
this
talk to
person
individuals.
is a good person you should listen to.
Okay, this is a good triggering. Okay, I've been psyoped. I understand. That's great. I know for a fact that
Why is
you
everything
haven't
a psyop to
because
you?
you haven't read a single thing.
The world's against you.
You
Huh? That
haven't
sounds like
read.
a BPD
You have
strat.
not read a single thing on this entire
Yes,
conflict.
I have. Yes, I have. What have you read other than Wikipedia, Destiny? Articles in Wikipedia, is that it?
The fact.
Any books?
Listen, you can make fun of
Any
Wikipedia
books?
all you want, but
I'm not making fun of it because in Wikipedia in the
Mm-hmm.
2006 election, they directly state that the U.S. meddled into the election and that they were okay with pushing the election from 2005 till 2006 if it meant that they engaged in a little bit of,
Gotcha.
voter
Yep.
suppression. They directly
Cool.
admit to that in
That
the
is a
Wikipedia article
claim
about
that
the
has been made.
2006 election.
Okay, Cap. So then here's a
So is
question.
Wikipedia
Sure.
false?
Here's a
because
question.
you're using
Yeah.
Wikipedia
Here's
as a research tool?
Okay, true. Here's a question. Shut me down. Why was it really silly to suggest that Iran would be the one to mediate a conversation between Palestine and Israel?
I wasn't making that as a meaningful suggestion. I was
Oh.
throwing things out there that might be more biased towards the other party because you were suggesting the U.S., who is obviously very biased towards Israel.
Why do you think I would suggest?
So why not Sweden or Switzerland or some other country?
Because I don't know what Sweden or Switzerland's like stake or activity or involvement in this region even is.
So as you're saying, Iraq, Iran, Egypt, those countries maybe have a stake in this. U.S. maybe has a stake in this. So, but all
When
of
you
those
say
are
maybe
biased
has a,
towards one side.
when you
or
say
the other.
maybe has a stake in this, what do you mean by that?
What do you mean by you saying that?
I know because I've read a lot on this topic. I don't think you've read anything on this topic. Why would you say
Yes,
that?
I have read things on this topic, but that's what I'm saying,
Okay, then
and that's
tell me
actually
a little
why
bit
I
of-
use those
talk
as
to
an
me.
example
Sure.
to tell you what that bias
Gotcha.
might look
Okay,
like.
then you know what?
That one biased party, one way or the other.
True. I
probably
agree.
isn't gonna be
Okay,
good.
hold on. I agree. I have issues.
okay.
Can you just like fill me in a little bit about like tell me a little bit about the region? I just want to hear a little bit because I'm lacking the education. I'm super biased. Give me an like.
I'm not claiming myself as a historian.
No,
or
I didn't
an
say you're a historian,
educator.
but just like roughly speaking, walk me through a couple of the major Israeli-Palestinian wars. Walk me through what was going on around like 1947, 1948. Talk to me about Mandate Palestine. Talk to me about like Egypt. Talk to me about anything in this region. Just give me a
what
little bit
about
of
those
information.
things do you want to talk about?
Literally
Because I have-
anything.
I
Just
have
like
actually
start.
researched
Yeah,
those
just give me a
things.
little bit of information. I'm just curious. Just talk to me a little bit about it. Go ahead. Yeah.
What about it?
Anything. Just talk to me about
You
it.
talk to me a little about it, because it seems like you're the one who's posturing yourself with an ego as if you're knowing more, but I'm recommending you even more information that you could learn to expand that viewpoint you have on the situation even further.
Okay,
but
sure.
You're just feeling like degrading me and putting me down
True.
for what I'm
Okay.
recommending.
Talk to me a little bit about Jordan's relationship with Israel, like the 1948. Talk to me about a little bit about that.
What would you like to talk about with that?
Anything. I don't know. How do they feel about him?
Okay, so you're asking me, how does Jordan feel about Israel in 1948?
Yeah.
Okay, well, weren't they mandated Israel in 1947, just the year before that?
What was that? Was it in 1947 that Israel was mandated?
I believe it was. I could be getting that wrong.
Yeah.
So I understand, like, if that's what happened the year after, I understand they probably would not be happy with that. And Jordan consistently followed an anti-Zionist policy. Yeah, it seems like they're not okay with them claiming that territory as theirs.
Okay.
So what about that do you want to talk about?
That was good enough for me, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not completely stupid. I know that you're used to just calling people that, but I actually do really deeply care about what's going on in the world, and I do want to be as informed as possible. So if there's something that I don't know, I would love to hear it. But I also just feel like it's discrediting your argument to put people down, call them a retard, tell them to kill themselves, and to discredit Gabor Mate's perspective on this conflict because he was only 5 months old when he experienced something as tragic as the Holocaust.
Gotcha. Okay. I was actually partially memeing. There was never a mandate for Israel in 47 or 48. Israel declared independence and fought for their borders that aren't even official. So that statement was fucking retarded. Jordan's relationship with Israel is also not very good, but there's a whole bunch of stuff that you can say relating to it. Not necessarily about anti-Zionism. I'm not even sure how crazy anti-Zionist the original Jordan was, but it was just, I'm just curious because I know you know nothing about it. I just want you to know that I know that you know nothing about it, and that's good enough for me. So I'm glad to hear you talk about it for a little bit.
You
anything else?
shrugged off your ego
Is there anything
and you
else?
came 15 times.
True,
Congrats,
I
Destiny.
did absolutely 15 times. Anything else you got for us, or am I good?
I really think you should play that video of Reckful crying about people telling him to kill himself because he's not with us anymore, and it's really fucked up that you regularly normalize telling people to kill themselves.
Gotcha.
And I don't think you're gonna go anywhere with your canvassing or anything really if that's how you really feel like you should conduct yourself in your 30s. I think that's really sad. Really sad for you and for your community because you could do so much with it. And I do love you as a person. You know, we're all connected and generational trauma is fucking us all up. And if you want to keep justifying the shitty things you're doing, you can do that. But
okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Well, hey, listen.
And I don't think Lav should kill herself. I don't think Hasan should kill
So
himself.
brave.
I don't think Mike from PA should kill themselves.
Okay.
And if you think people are wrong, then you could be a mature adult and have that conversation instead of resorting to things like that. Because
Gotcha.
I don't know. It's really, really fucking sad to see
True.
someone with so much power care so little.
Gotcha. Well, I hope you stop doing propaganda work for Hamas. I hope you also become a better person. I hope you stop looking at Jackson Hinkle tweets for all of your news on this.
That's not
and I hope you stop spamming
completely
irrelevant people that aren't even
mischaracterized me. You
historians at me for
mischaracterized me
information
for
related
your-
to this conflict.
Nice leeching, Destiny.
yeah.
Enjoy your content.
I am. Thanks.
Love
hey,
you,
listen,
bud.
if I got off 15 times, I hope you got off twice. Fuck! Oh, I had a good... Okay. Boom, boom. Jesus fucking Christ.